First and foremost, I got to thank you so much just for the inspiration that you provided, because I've had a lot of my guys come onto this show, everybody who I've known in baseball and just sports in general over time. But you are the one who's been there since the beginning of my career. And it's that motto, that keep swinging motto, just keep on getting better and better. You have that growth mindset. You've had it since you were 19 years old when we met in 2006 with you were with the Hickory Crawdads, and I was over in Lakewood doing this. But dude, I got to thank you so much just for hopping on and again, just being such an inspiration. Again, that keep swinging mentality.
Happy, man. Happy to go. Happy to get going, get started, and yeah, exactly. That's the mantra. That's the motto. You know, it's for me. It's I've always in my mind, I've come to learn that not everyone feels this way, but like I've come to like for me, I feel like I can beat better than what I was the year before. You know, every year. You know, even where I am in my career, I'm looking at it like, man, I feel like I can be better. I feel like I can do better. I feel like I can be even better than I was when I was an MVP. And I like, you know, so like, because I'm like, man, I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm learning more things about myself. You know, like, so I'm using all these things, you know, and I'm like, bro, like, and of course, there's the physical side too. You know, it's like, well, you know, my body still feels really good. You know, like my legs are feeling really like, man, I feel like I can be better. But like, you know, so I take that approach into everything that I do every off season, every time I'm preparing and getting ready for the next year. I'm like, man, and I have that just that want and that grit, that willingness to like to be better, you know, and you know, and having the conversations with like my wife, and even she's like, you know, it's awesome that you feel that way, you know, like, you know, because it's you know, not everyone feels like that, you know, and I'm just like, I don't understand how people don't feel like, at least in the game of baseball. Like I would think that's what everybody feels like, you know. And she's like, I honestly don't think that's why. I honestly don't think people feel that way, you know. And I was like, all right, well, man, that maybe is what sets, you know, could set me apart from the next guy or the person who I came up with who is maybe no longer playing or whatever that it is, you know. But yeah, that's the mentality, that's the approach, that's the mantra, motto, whatever you want to call it, that I take. And I feel like whoever has that and whatever they do, um, you know, you specifically, like, you know, it's just that's you like, man, I can build or I can build off of that. I can get better at that, you know, like why not? You know, so like that's the way you should take life, I feel like in general. If there's something you want to go get, even if you get it, you know, it's great, but like that's not the end all. You know, it's like, all right, keep, you know, pressing for the next thing. And, you know, not necessarily not like a not satisfied, but it's just a hunger to be better.
Dude, yes. And you've had that this entire time, which is just so cool because I just think back to when we had first met. And I know you're talking about like physical wise and mental wise and stuff like that. Like, dude, outside the facial hair, you pretty much still look the same too. I have zero idea how you did it. I still can't grow a beard, but like you still, it's like, I don't know what you're drinking or what you're eating. Maybe it's the CTC magic or something, but dude, like you still look good, you know?
Yeah, I
That's
appreciate
hard
it,
to
man.
do.
Man, shoot, I mean, hey, man, you look good yourself, man. I mean, shoot,
I'm trying shit.
you know, it's the, you know, you got to have good genetics, one, right? You know, but I think the other thing is, you know, you keep yourself young. You keep yourself young with the way you approach life. And one of my biggest goals and keys for me playing on a certain team was whoever I play for, I want them to know like I still want to be able to play the outfield. You know, I still want to be able to be out there, run around out there because that's who I am. I'm not a person who likes to just DH or sit on the bench or, you know, they're like in, you know, but a lot of people like to put you in these, you know, little these boxes that say like, oh, you're at this age of your career, this is where we feel like you fit in now. And I'm going, no, I don't fit in there. Like I can still do these things and I want to do these things. Maybe people you've come up and gotten to know that were that this part of their career, maybe that is what they wanted to do. But me, I'm no, I want to keep playing. Like I want to keep going. I want to keep, you know, using it, you know, anywhere, anything that I can do possible, like keep doing it and keep going. Like because I feel good, my body feels good. So why is someone telling me like you can't do this or we don't see you doing this? Like, no, I know I can do it. So like that's what I want. So I go out there and I try and I get that and I run and I go after that. And so that's the way I look at it, man. I mean, you think LeBron James at 38 is going like, oh, I'm 38. Most 38-year-olds at this is what they're doing. Nah, this guy's like, I don't care what the age is. Like, I'm still going to be the best at what I do. Like, and he goes out there and he does it. And I'm trying to do that same thing. Trying to defy the odds of that, and let people know, like, dude, this man, he's 36 and he's still running around great in the outfield. Like, maybe the next guy who's 25 and 26 is looking at that, going, man, I want to be able to do that when I'm at that age too, and then that snowballs into something else, and that snowballs into the next person, the next guy, and the next guy. So, yeah, man, I feel good. I say all that to say I feel good. Got a little more facial hair. Uh, but the kids are keeping me young. So, and yeah, man, it's good, bro. Feels good, man.
Yeah, yeah, I got the chills a couple of times as you were talking, and there's like shades of my man Kenny Lofton, because he was telling me, he was like, so many times I was told I can't, and so many times I had to say I will show you that I will, and he just still just kept on plugging away, because like you said, you get that labeling throughout your entire career, whether it's as a high schooler, a big leaguer, and even after, there's probably still gonna be people talking shit about your swing or something about what you did as a
Right.
player, but no, dude, you've just always had this love for baseball, and like, take us back to those CTC days where, what came first? Was it the Cinnamon Toast Crunch or playing baseball? What you fall in love with first?
Man, Cinnamon Toast Crunch came before a lot of stuff. I have to say, this is the first time I've actually gone in public and said this, but like I've kind of shunned away from the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. All right, like
Oh wow.
I don't. It was a lot. I went through some withdrawal, but I had to. I was like, all right, I need to stop eating this stuff. Like I did. And the thing was, I never ate it a lot, but I ate it a lot. So if that makes sense. So like I'd be the one that, like, I won't eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch for 2 weeks, but then you put it in front of me and get a box, like I'll crush almost the entire thing. Like, like that's kind of how I did it. So, I was like, all right, I'm done. So but I'm done with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch, so but I find other things are close, but not, so I ain't trying to give, people pub and stuff, but like in brands pubs and all that. But Siete chips, Siete,
Oh, dude,
seven,
Siete
like the
chips,
number
those are
Siete
good.
chips. They actually they have a churro uh chip. And so, like, for me, that's kind of like my new, like, cinnamon toast crunch now. Like, they use coconut sugar instead of like refined sugar. Like, so I'm kind of, trying to look good. What I'm saying, trying to keep my body in shape. And I know at this age that I'm at, I can't just be crushing cinnamon toast crunch all the time.
Yeah, yeah, the Siete chips, that's the type of snack that you don't want to eat all at once, but you'll leave it in like the pantry, and then you'll grab one or two, you'll leave, you like walk back 10, 12 minutes later,
Oh,
you grab another one. Next thing you know, like 6 hours later, the entire bag is done, and you just should have eaten it all at once when you
exactly.
got it.
Yeah, they're so good, and they're so, like, they're very light and airy. So you don't get that, like, oh, I've had enough. You just kind of, like, you just keep eating them, and you're like, man, like, I can eat this whole bag if I really wanted to. But at the same time, you don't feel that bad if you did or got close to it, because they're not that bad of a snack to have. So it's those are pretty good. I mean, that's kind of my go-to when ever I got a little sweet tooth or something. But yeah, they're pretty good, man.
Love it. Yeah. So as a kid, you're crushing cinnamon toast crunch, just like any other kid, just having fun, loving life. And one of the stories that I love most about your childhood was that you and your dad, you guys would go to the railroad track, pick up some rocks, and then take them over to the lake. And that was great bonding experience for you, because you had a great relationship with both your parents as a kid. But that was kind of like where you started to find your love for baseball, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it really was. Before I even like picked up a bat or a ball, that's what I used to do with my dad. Is yeah, he would take me to the railroad tracks, and we get this little pan, and yeah, and we find all the smooth rocks, and yeah, we put them in there, and then we go to the lake in our town. Yeah, we just go out there and we just throw them, and my dad would skip them, and he would try and get me to skip them, and I wasn't very good at it at first, but um, that kind of just segued into when he did put a baseball in my hand, and he was like, "This is just like throwing a rock, it's the same as that thing, and it kind of helped develop. So throwing those rocks helped develop, not necessarily my love yet, but just a similarity of throwing a rock, throwing a baseball. It was like kind of the same thing to me. And same thing with hitting a baseball, and grabbing a bat. I used to get like find little ripe or not ripe yet oranges. So, anything you could grab, it was like a small little green orange, it wasn't quite there yet. I didn't know, of course, as a kid. So for all the people who like, oh, why'd you do that to the fruit? I didn't know. Like I was a 5-year-old kid, like I didn't know any difference, but I would grab those things and I'd get like the end of a broomstick handle, and I would just pick them up and crush them. I would just try and crush them, and I would want them to explode and explode so bad to where the acid from it would just like hit me in the face and my eyes would burn. Like, so like I would do that all the time, so, and then that same thing, man, it kind of developed into a bat and baseball, which is a little better than messing up some, fresh produce or whatever. So, so I did that. And yeah, man, it kind of just developed into this thing to where I had some familiarity with it, and even though I never did, so it was helpful.
Dude, we might have to get you some sort of deal, like some sort of fresh squeezed orange juice by you, but it's just you getting all the pulp or the juice out
Crushing
with the
it,
bat. Yeah, post baseball playing days, man. That sounds like a pretty good idea. I think we might have just
right?
stumbled into
This is the
it.
pulp free brand. It's just me crushing, just crushing fruit.
Game used oranges. Everything is saved. Everything's saved. And then just learning more about your dad, Lorenzo, and your mom, because they had you at a young age for them. Your dad was a junior in high school, your mom was a senior, and your dad had gone away just for a little bit over to Tennessee because he was playing football. But like he came home and took care of you. Like you were his main priority. I just loved hearing all the stories about them and reading everything about it because you're such an extension of them and I just love everything about it basically. And guys, if you see the wristbands that Kutch usually wears during the games, he's got the cross on him. You're a Christian or Catholic guy. I never know which term to use that or say it as or describe it
Yeah,
as. And I went to like a Catholic school my
yeah,
entire life, but
right. You can say
but
Christian, you can say Christian, whatever. Yeah.
but yeah, like your upbringing by both your parents, they took such great care of you. They were so young when they had you, but they just turned into such great parents. It was awesome to know that.
Yeah, man. I mean, they stuck with me for through all of that. And, of course, like being an adult now, having kids of my own, I I look back on that now. It has a different weight to it. It's like I had my first kid when I was 31. They had me at 17, like 16 to 17. So it's a totally different ball game, like, and I'm like, man, how were they able to go through what were going through when like they weren't even like adults themselves yet? And through the help of their family, and and just them understanding, like, that the importance of a kid. And even though that wasn't something that they probably planned for at that time, they were able to stick together. And even like, yeah, with my dad leaving and going to college, and going to Carson Newman, and playing football, and him having a passion for that, he realized that, like, he had something else that he was passionate about, and that was his family, and that was me. So yeah, he laid down everything that he had, all his aspirations and goals at that time, and he came back, and he took care of me. And who's to say if I'd be in this position now, if he hadn't done that. So it's big, man. And thinking about that, looking back on that, and I do quite a bit. I'm like, how in the world did you even? How did you guys do it? Like, like how was it possible? How did you guys get through it? And for them, they were just like, dude, hey, if it wasn't for the support of our family, if it wasn't for us, trusting God through all this, I don't know if we would have been able to. And I'm like, man, well, you know, I'm thankful for that, because happy to where I am. So they stuck with it. They're one of the few out of both sides of their families who um, had who were together from high school, got married, and still together and still married. And so speaks a lot about them, and the volume that it speaks is a multitude of. I got a multitude of respect for both of them, and super thankful for them, man. Because they share good examples. They're a good example to lead by, and I'm able to use that for myself and for my kids too.
Yeah, and like you said too, now that you're a father, you kind of understand a little bit more what they went through, and they made a ton of sacrifices, as do you right now being in baseball. You're not home a lot, so you're making the sacrifice providing for your family while not being able to be with your family as much as I'm sure you'd like. But when you think about your parents, you're like, man, well, my mom was selling spaghetti dinners for 5.50 so I could go play in baseball tournaments. Like they did it, I can do it.
Exactly. All the sacrifices that they made weren't even our sacrifices are different. We all sacrifice in different ways. But when I think about the challenges they had as being young adults and trying to raise a child, trying to make something of themselves, so they could you know not feel like they need to depend on someone else or their family members. They went through a lot, and we all went through a lot as a family. Constant moving and being at one place to the next, or living in a place that wasn't necessarily like, the high life, but we lived to where I never had to worry about where I was going to get my next meal from or, what clothes I was going to wear. I never ever thought I enjoyed my childhood, and, it was a big part of what they did and the sacrifices that they made, my dad working endless jobs, one to the next and the next and the next, they'll just try to make ends meet, so like they went through a lot, and man, looking back on it, they could write a book about it, honestly, and I read it, because it's a unique thing that a lot of people do go through, and I think it would be really beneficial for people who like them, in the position that they were in, to like talk about it because they're able to do what they did at a young age, and they're still doing it till this day, and that's impactful, and I think that would be impactful for a lot of other people too.
Dude, I couldn't agree more because I was listening to an interview with your dad, Lorenzo, and the entire time I'm just like I felt like I was like taking notes, not for like this, but just kind of to be a dad. I listened to a lot of things that you said or that you've done, and I'm like, as funny as you are as a person, and your character, and on social media, and as great a ball player as you are, no discredit to any of that. I think you're a much better father than any of those things, and just your approach to life, just in general. And yeah, I think that it would be awesome if they did write a book because a lot of the things that you learned were obviously from them, and something that was cool that they did where they didn't really like point you in a specific direction. They let you have fun in art class, like drawing a bunch, like you always love to draw or sketch. They let you play football, and try out all these different other things. And it was, for the most part, I guess, baseball, which you really took a liking to, as you were talking about before, hitting the oranges and all that other stuff. And a crazy chapter of your story was how in eighth grade you were playing on the varsity team in high school. So it's like, talk about growing up pretty fast, and getting to do something at a high level at such a young age. And that was like really your first test of baseball, and you crushed it, hitting 700 something.
Yeah, man, it's wild. Like looking back on all of that, I never understood. When I was coming up, and I find I'm in the major leagues and all of this, and I was with my dad one day, and I went like, I didn't have kids yet, but I asked my dad, I'm like, how did you know that, baseball was out of all the things that I did, like baseball was the sport that I should stick with. Like, how did you know that? Like, why did you why did I keep up with what I did, like playing in tournaments at a young age and being on travel ball teams, and like, what was it about baseball that you were like, you wanted me to keep doing? Because he himself, he was a football guy, and our town was more of a football town. Like we didn't know, God, not too many people really came out of there, in baseball with baseball. And so he said, man, he's like, you just were stood out. You were different when you were on the baseball field. It's like, yeah, put you on a football field. Yeah, you're really good and you stand out there, but you didn't stand out how you did, like you did on the baseball field. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. He was like, I'm telling you, like, if you could see it for yourself, like you would understand. and I didn't really get it. And then what do you know? Fast forward, my grandfather used to record a lot of my games when I played t-ball. So he had a camcorder, recorded it, VHS. Like anyone who's like under the age of 30 probably have no idea what a VHS is. But like, like so they like he recorded it, and my grandmother, she saved a lot of them. And so I was at my grandmother's house, and I actually found one and I watched it, one of my games. And you could see all these little kids, come going up, putting the bat up next to the ball first, and then they take a swing, and you have a couple good little hits here and there. One, it's like a dog after a stick. Like in t-ball, the ball gets hit, and all the kids watch it go by them, and then they all run after it. Like so. And then I saw that I came up to bat, and the coaches were telling the kids to back up, and I ended up no, no, no. I didn't go up to it and test it out first. I just went right up to it, and I just took an absolute hack, and then the ball I ended up like hitting the fence on the fly, and I did at that
Nice.
point I was like, this is what my dad meant, like. Oh wow, this is crazy, So it was cool, just like talking to my dad about it and like watching it, and yeah, I don't know, just that whole story. It was like it was really neat.
That's a future IG post, man. You gotta dig that video up, and if you
I
need
gotta
any help,
find
kind
that
of
stuff, man.
yeah,
I gotta find
I'll,
all that.
I'll help you out with the dimensions, man. I'll help you edit it real quick.
I gotta find all the t-ball stuff. He has that. He has all the way up to when I was like 12. Like he has record. There's like the video that the Pirates posted of me in high school taking swings like in the cage. That was my grandfather's like recording. It was him with a camcorder recording me hitting in the net like right-handed and left-handed. So like
Shout out to
that
Grandpa.
stuff's in the archives. I just gotta find it.
Was he there for the 5 a.m. workouts that you'd have during your
No,
senior year of high school working
no,
out?
no. He was he was like a part of it, but like nah, to that extent, nah. He was like, nah, I ain't doing that. Waking up no 5 in the morning to record. No, yeah, I gotta go hit this golf course. Like got 18 to play. So
Grandpa, could you come film this hype workout that I'm just gonna go lift some weights and hit some balls in the backyard at 5 a.m.
man,
You mind coming through?
right? If only hype videos were like a thing really back then, which they weren't. But yeah, I mean, he's recorded quite a bit of stuff, but yeah, that was just me and my dad. Those early morning workouts, man. Just me and him grinding away, hitting the gym, and then I'm walking to school from there. It was yeah, all of it, man. Grinding away.
Dude, oh man, you couldn't have said a better word, because one of the most favorite quotes that you have, at least in the social media post, was focus on the good, grind through the hard, unless it's your birthday. So what were you doing, or how did you celebrate your birthdays as a kid? I know those probably were fun as much as you were working hard towards your goal, because football you had a scholarship offer, baseball too. But yeah, how'd you celebrate the birthdays? I know you had to have fun in there somewhere.
Yeah, man. I there was a few that I could really think about, but like with me, I was always a kid that like I was very, I was reserved, like but if I was around my friends or my family members, like I like to have a lot of fun. But when it came to like me and people celebrating me, I didn't. I was that kid that was like, I don't want that. I don't want to have people at a party. Like I don't care about that type of stuff. But there were a couple times where as a kid, like doing a few things or having a lot of like being at my grandma's house, and us having a little get together with my family and some friends, or going to like the pool. Like, that was kind of one of the things I really like to do is we had like a little community pool in the next city up. So I used to like going out there and just it was like a birthday party, but not, you know what I'm saying? Like we didn't like say happy birthday, but like we would like all go to the pool, swim, and yeah, come back, take a nap because we're just exhausted because of the chlorine, and then just crushing hot dogs after when we wake up. So it was just kind of things like that. I used to like just doing cool things, like little small things like that, sleepovers and stuff. Stuff the kids used to like to do back in the day. But yeah, I never had anything that was that I can remember that was like, man, there was this one birthday. Like I don't know, I don't, I don't know. But like, I was just like I said, I was pretty reserved, laid back. I didn't do a whole lot.
Well, everything you just said sounds like it would be fun today. Going out, hopping in the pool, eating a hot dog after a nap. That would be fun to do right now. But
That'd be great.
yeah, like you said, we are adults. Shit, we're still young. But yeah, so you got the high school down, and then here comes time for the draft. Freaking 2005. Get the dial up going. Pump up AOL 56K modem, whatever it was, because that was the way to watch the draft.
Oh my gosh. Welcome. You've got mail. Like every time, AOL baby. Still have it, so I can't even say what it is because I still have it.
Yeah, don't yeah.
My phone's gonna be blowing up because it ain't at AOL anymore. But I still have that email. I can't even share it. I
Turn
just
it into
changed
an NFT. You'd probably
change
get
it
like millions
to
for it. No.
yeah. But like, I still have it. It's so funny. Like you go to certain places and they ask for your email. And it's the reason I have two emails. But I was like, man, I can't share that one. Like, it's I just spell it. You end up just spelling it because you don't want
Uncle
to.
Larry 77.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. I just got that one recently. Uncle Larry 22. Don't do that, guys. Not a real email. It's not my email. It might be someone's email though. Who knows?
Yeah, sure. Now it will be somebody's gonna get it and hold it hostage from you. But yeah, dude, that was like wild because like now you see the draft, it's so much better than what it used to be, and baseball keeps on doing a better job of like making it a big event. But yeah, back then, dude, it was like you had to sign on to the internet and like literally sign on and dial up. That's how you found out. So, dude, talk about I know you said you didn't really celebrate birthday parties too much, but that was a time in your life that it's time to celebrate. You went in the first round.
Yeah. So like we had I had like a few friends over. I didn't have we probably had about 20 to 25 people over. Local newspaper there, which was a very small newspaper for our town. And then the bigger newspaper was the Lakeland Ledger. So they wanted someone there. I was a little like, I didn't know if I want. My parents were more like, I don't know if we want the Lakeland Ledger there because the draft is still, you don't know what to expect. They can say all you want. Hey, you're gonna be a top 5 or top 10 pick, but like there's a chance that may not happen. Like something could happen. One dude could fall who was going to be top 3. Now he's 8. Now it backs you up. So we're just more like, we don't know if we want a lot of people there. So I had some close friends there with me, and I had the newspaper, the local newspapers there, and I kind of knew it was one of those you know where you're gonna go, but like, these are my teams. Why are these your teams? Because these teams came to my house. They talked to us. I did workouts with them. So it was the Rays, it was Detroit Tigers, it was the Pirates. So I knew it was those three. Rays were going to be the first out of the three, then the Tigers, and then the Pirates. So, um, but so I was it was like process of elimination and all that. I'm looking like we're going up and down, like going through 1, 2, 3, 4, and yeah, we're just chilling at the house, man, listening to it on the internet, and yeah, it was. We got past the Rays. Then we got to the Tigers, who I thought I was going to, and they actually picked Cameron Maben.
Oh
And
yeah, Killer Cam, baby.
yeah, and then the Pirates were next, and I was like, thought for sure like the Pirates were gonna be, and they said, yeah, Pirates select, McCutchen. They said my name. We're all excited. Everyone's happy. I'm hugging everybody, and and yeah, it was a good time, man. It was a good feeling to have that happen. Um, and we were so excited, man. Like, we're as a family. I was excited. I was excited for not just myself, but um, just I was finally able to be able to like do something for my family, for my mom, for my dad, that they were able to do for me for that 18 years of my life, and take care of me. And I knew right at that moment, like I can take care of them, like, which is great. And so that's what I was the most excited about. I was excited to be drafted, but I was happy that I could take care of them. So um, yeah, man, it was good. I ran a circle around my house after I got drafted, just out of excitement. Got in my car with my best friend. I used to drive a '95 Dodge Dakota Sport. Manual.
Nice.
Felt like you know, felt like I was shoot. No, I didn't. I didn't feel like I was in any of those movies. But I was just like hitting the ball. It wasn't that fast. But I had like some speakers that I had in my truck, and so I had speakers, and I had these huge tweeters in the top of my truck. And so I went around, me and my best friend, and I was playing Mike Jones back then. Didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all on me.
Dude, still tipping?
I was literally
Yeah.
right around them, like, yeah, y'all ain't like me then. But now what? I was feeling myself for a little bit, but once I came out, once I got off my high horse, I was all excited. But I had to do that one time.
So you
Oh
must have
yeah,
been feeling pretty good.
I was feeling good, man. Like I said, I had the music blaring, had my speakers rolling, and went around the neighborhood at one time, all excited. No one knew yet, because I said it was dial up internet, so like no one knew what was going on. A lot of people knew it was coming, but no one knew. So like for me, that was more like me riding around, like that was my celebration. So we had a good time. I had a good time. It was a lot of fun with that.
Dude, so awesome. And then just a year later, that's when we had met, like I was talking about before at the beginning of this, in Lakewood, and you were with Hickory. And like, you know how it is in baseball. If you're a top pick, you get all different types of personalities. So you get the cocky dudes, you get the very nice dudes, the humble dudes. And I remember going to the stadium. You had swag back then, and you still have it now, right? And I was like, there's no way that he goes by Andrew. Then I'm like, he definitely doesn't go by Andy. And I I didn't want to like walk up to you like in an Uncle Larry voice, like, hello, Andrew. I'm Matt. Nice to meet you. So
Well,
I didn't. But yeah, so when I introduced myself to you, I just remember like you were just so like laid back, so casual. Like you never would have known that you were such a great baseball player because you're again just such a good, normal, regular dude like you are right now, which is why I always appreciate you throughout this entire time. But that was my first impression of you. It was just so cool, and like from that point on, I was like, all right, there is something different about you,
mm,
which you eventually proved.
yeah, man. Yeah, it was cool. Lakewood, I like coming up to Lakewood playing. That was a good place to play when I was in low A, being that it was Hickory. I got nothing against Hickory. So Madison Bumgarner, sorry, buddy. I mean, I know you're from there. Uh, he actually said he went and watched. He was in high school. He came and watched me play when I was
No way! Wow. All right.
when I was on
He
Hickory.
so he probably knew too.
Yeah, so he said he was like, oh, there's this phenom, Crawdads, and like, and he's like, yeah, you know how he talks, so we all came out there, and I saw you play, and I was like, yeah, I could probably strike him out. Like he had to throw his little bit in there, but
Yeah,
uh,
dude, that actually sounds so much like him though, because he came through
uh
Lakewood too, and when I met him, I just remember like he was towering over me, and he had his like camo hat on, as I have one on right now, like a camo hat, camo jacket, and stuff, because it was
oh
after the
yeah,
game. But
oh
yeah, you're
thanks.
pretty on point with that, very on
Oh,
point.
oh yeah, I try not to go on the tangent, but I got some good Bumgarner stories.
For you then, so that was 2006. Then it was 2007 where that was the first time that you ever struggled in your entire life
Hmm.
with baseball. And looking back at the numbers, you had a pretty good season, but still in your eyes and your opinion. So what was one of those things that kind of just kept you swinging, like just kept going and going and going at that time? Because like you've always been on the top of a hill and on top of your hill, and now you're just like, ah, crap.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, at the time, I went through that struggle, right? And there's a few things that I had to think about going through the struggle. I was it's the first time I played in weather like in anything below 50 degrees. Never played anything cooler than that. And so that was the first time I had to play in weather. The first two games of the season got canceled because it was too cold. There was a freeze out, so we couldn't even play the first two games of the season Double A that year. And I remember never forget like being like, bro, I can't believe we have to play in this. Like it's freezing, And I remember going through that, having to adjust. And yeah, man. I mean, the competition, of course, is better. And so I went through some struggles just trying to figure this thing out. And I think one of the biggest things of adversity that I had really had to swallow was that year in spring training. I was in big league camp. So I got to be in big league camp that year in '07. I had a really, really good big league camp. And I was always under the impression like I'm going to be there for a few weeks. They're going to send me back to the minors. Like that's what it always is. Like my clock's not going to start yet. I knew that. But we had some people hurt in spring who weren't going to be ready during the season, and they didn't really have an outfield. So I was doing well, and the buzz around the Pirates at that time was, does Andrew McCutchen have a chance to make the team out of spring training at 20 years old? So that was the talk, and I started to feel that buzz, and it was making me excited. I was getting really excited about it. So much so I had a chip on my shoulder every time I would play in those spring training games, and I would go out there and I'd play like I was trying to make the team. And I had a really good spring. They ended up towards the end sending me to. This is crazy. They're getting gearing themselves up. Last game, right? Last game of spring. They're about to head out and they're about to go for a leave for the season. I'm in the clubhouse. They call me in. They say, I'm thinking I'm making the team. They call me and they go, thank you for everything that you did. You had a really good spring, opened a lot of eyes. We're going to send you back to the minor leagues and start you in Double A. And I never forget they said that. It was like the world crushed me at that moment. I was like, what? Wow. I had no idea. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know anything. And so, like, I dealt with that going into Double A. And I feel a lot of my struggle was because of that, feeling like it just wasn't good enough, and what do I got to do now? And so I struggled because of it. And yeah, I handled a lot of it, went through a lot of adversity, but we grinded our way through it every single day, man. Just working, 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 working every day. And that second half of the season, I ended up hitting 300, like doing better, like so. I learned a lot through that struggle, man, and I'm happy that I was able to do that.
Dude, yeah, you fought right through it. And then just 2 years later in 2009, that's when you made your MLB debut. And I know you feel this way now about trades, looking at them as great opportunities. And it was a trade that gave you a great opportunity in 2009 because Nate McLouth had gotten traded, which opened up a spot for you in the outfield. So here you come, number 22, Andrew McCutchen, making your MLB debut. That had to just been the best feeling in the world for you outside of like getting drafted or whatever, especially after that 2007 period that you were just describing.
Yeah, man. There's a great feeling. There's a great feeling of accomplishment. Feeling like this is it. This is my chance, opportunity. This is like a chance of not looking back, having that call up. Because one of the biggest things that was instilled and taught to me was, it's one thing getting there. It's another thing staying there. So you can get there and it's hard, but it's even harder to maintain and stay there. Like so always know that, and there's gonna be some other kid who is just like you, waiting, waiting behind the curtain to get that call. So like I always had to tell myself, like, all right, this is work, keep working harder because there's gonna be somebody else right there behind you who's waiting on their chance and opportunity. And that's inevitable. It's gonna happen at some point. It's just a matter of, are you able to sustain and go on your own terms? And so like for me, it was I use that motivation, but like, getting that call was amazing. Getting that feeling was like, man, I'm here now. I can't wait. It was quick. I was up super early in the morning, 5 o'clock. I had or whatever time it was. I think I had like a 6 o'clock flight
You just
from.
always wake up at 5,
I know,
no
right?
matter
Somehow
what.
I wake up, right?
Like you're
Jeez.
like a machine.
Yeah, man. But like I had to wake up like a 6 o'clock flight, laid from Indianapolis to Chicago. I laid over, then flew from Chicago to Pittsburgh. I get there, we have a 12:35 game, so I'm running on fumes. Go into the clubhouse, and yeah, like I go to the manager's office, and he's like, yeah, hey, happy that you're here. You're gonna be leading off and playing center field. And I'm like, man, okay. Like I kind of assumed I would play, but there was a bit of me that was like, everything's moving too fast. I don't have a lot of time to get ready for the game. Maybe I don't play today. Like it was kind of like I was thinking that, and they're like, nah, you're here, you're playing. Like, McLeod's gone. Like, we need a center fielder. So I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, man, it was crazy. It was quick. I didn't even meet everybody on the team, but I went out there and did what I always do, man, and just play the game the way I know to play it, and ended up having a good debut. And we won two on top of that. And yeah, man, and we were out, and we're on our way to I believe it was Houston. We went to Houston like right after that. So yeah, it was crazy.
And you saw fans start to wear your jersey number 22. So is at that point where you're like, all right, I guess I'm staying number 22 because I know there's another number that you want to be at that time.
Yeah, I wanted to be 24 after my idol, King Griffey Jr. The kid, I always had the want to have that number. Never got to wear that number in the minor leagues. Last time I got to wear it was in high school. So, but at the time, someone was wearing the number, so I was like, all right, I don't have any means to wear 22. There's no number that like I'm not familiar with 22. Emmett Smith, I guess, I was just like at that time, I'm like, all right, I'll rock 22 for this year, and then I'll change it. And then I'll never forget getting time towards the end of 2009, my rookie year, and people were coming into the stadium. I was actually driving down a popular area around Pittsburgh, which is called the Strip District, and I was driving around there, and I saw people walking from their cars wearing McCutchen jerseys, McCutchen shirts, and that was the first time I was like, "Whoa, these people are actually wearing my jersey." And I was like, man, you know what? I think I'll stick with 22. This is cool, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So I stuck with it, and now it's, of course, it's a part of me.
Yeah, and dude, people started wearing them more and more because then between 2010 or 2011 and 2015, you're making every All-Star game. You're winning a Gold Glove. You had so much great stuff going on. 2013 was when we linked up again for PlayStation at the MLB The Show because next thing you know, you're on the cover of a baseball game, which Ken Griffey Jr. was when he was a young player. So it's like you were following in his footsteps in some sort, but that was just kind of like another part of your chapter where you just continue to build, and now like you're building yourself a brand.
Yeah, man. It was
Even the dreadlocks too, like the
yeah, man.
dreadlocks, that one crazy.
Yeah, it was all a staple, man. You're making a name for yourself at that point, and people recognize you, and people notice you because of my dreadlocks, and and to have all of this, and to be a part of a franchise that was more at the bottom, being on the Pirates, we weren't talked about as much. It's not like you were the Yankees or the Dodgers or Red Sox. It was I was on the Pirates, but we were still getting the pub that where I was getting was it was really cool. Like make just really feeling like I was making a name for myself, and um, yeah, man, I took that, and and people see me, they see me, they knew exactly. They're like that. Hey, you're the Pirates, man. I was all the way in. I was all the way in the Caribbean, like on one of the islands out there, Nevis. I was on that island, and I never forget. We like left the resort. We went into up the mountain on Nevis because there's this big mountain that sits in the middle of it, and the town kind of wraps around it. And we drove all the way like in the middle of this mountain to this restaurant. Cool looking tree too by this restaurant we went to, and I never forget walking in, and there was another guy, an island guy, who was sitting there on dreadlocks, older guy, and he looked at me and he goes, "Ah, you're the pirate guy." And I'll never forget that moment, man. I'll never forget it. Like it was like one of those like, dude, you know who I am? Like, you know, like it was like so cool to share that experience with that guy at that time. You know, it was like, shoot, man, this is crazy. You know, like I had to sit back, like, dude, all the way just sitting here in the middle of this island. You know, like, you know, and this guy knows who I am. You know, I was just able to connect with so many people, and you know, yeah, it was awesome, man. Still is.
Dude, and it's brought so much like joy, whether it's a fan like that or for yourself and creating opportunity. Your mom got to sing the national anthem at a game, and I know that she has at a bunch of different other pro baseball games too. So you created that opportunity for her. The dreadlocks, when you took them off, those were auctioned off. Who would have thought that your hair would have been going somewhere? And then another great thing that you had done for the city and just in general too with your platform as your brand continued to build was there was a you had a green truck that there was a like a food charity donation that needed a car to go around and pick up all the food around the city, and you donated one of your cars. I know you got a McLaren and it's sweet. And but like
Sold
I don't know if that thing's ever gonna
it.
pick pick food up anywhere, but like one of your cars, one of your babies, you gave away. So those are three things right there that your brand, you just like open up so many doors for each others. And kind of said this before about like your journey about it opening other doors where it's like you don't expect certain things to happen. These are all byproducts of your hard work.
Yeah, man, and I don't take any of that lightly. I mean, baseball is you know, you use baseball, and honestly, and I truly believe it. Like you play the game, you love the game, you appreciate it as much as you can. But all of these other things that you mentioned are a byproduct of me playing the game of baseball. And literally, I think that's if you're not using that as a to help or to make a difference, like you know, like then like really what are you doing, you know, like you know, it's to me, I look at it like, yeah, you can be a great athlete and make a lot of money and you know enjoy the fruits of your labor, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you can do so much more with what you have and the resources and just the amount of people, and there's just so much you can do, and there's such a short window to where you can do it. um, Try and take advantage of it as much as you can, and I'll be the first to say I feel like I've done things, but I feel like there's still a lot more to do. And you know, I'm just, yeah, man, it's all a byproduct of the game that we play, the game that I love, and you know I'm gonna continue to keep doing it. um Mostly quietly, you know, but you know, there are times where doing things publicly can make a difference too, and I also understand that. But yeah, you know, I've always been kind of predicating my life on when I do things, I don't do it for the, you know, the clap or the good job or the, you know, I don't do it for that. I do it because it needs to be done and someone needs to do it. And you know, I'm just like, I'm happy that I can be able to be the one to help facilitate or do it. You know, me and my family, me and my wife, and you know, so yeah, man, it's great. Have the chance and opportunity.
If Steele or whoever wants to hop in, we got
Yeah.
dogs, we got everybody on this.
Oh yeah, I figured one of them would run in anyway. I'm surprised, like, you know, mama's probably holding it down there, like, don't you go in the office, you know.
You talk about all this stuff, and I know that you said there's certain things that you could do quietly, other things that you could do out in the open. One of the things that you do out in the open, which is absolutely awesome, but your social media game, dude, it is top notch, like MVP level in the social media world, and that started back in 2018 because your wife had influenced you because you're already making Vine type videos, and it's so awesome that you started your social media accounts because it just shows so much of your personality. But looking back, now that it's been some time since 2018, how much fun have you had creating these videos that we all see?
Yeah, man. One thing that people who know me know is like I love to joke. I love to laugh. Like, and I love to do content. I love, you know, content, videos, whatever. Like, I love doing that. So, like, Um, you know, I small little tidbit about me. Like growing up, like when I was in middle school and high school, one of my electives was TV production. So like I did a lot of I was I was someone talking about like who came on TV and was like, all right, today for lunch, what we're having is, I was that guy. Like I was the guy behind the camera, or I was the guy who actually was up there doing the talking. So like I don't know. I always liked that. I love weather as well. Definitely thought I would be a meteorologist at one point in my life. But yeah, but
Next life you can.
yeah. So I don't know, man. I love making videos, and once when I started making videos, especially around the pandemic, and that's what created Uncle Larry and all that. But yeah, man, I just went and I did it. I want people to know the fun side of me, and I don't think people know enough of that. And I'm hoping that I can do a little more, so that people can continue to I can interact with people and people know that side of me. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like to have a lot of fun. Like I said, like to make people laugh. So anytime people get to see that side of me, it's makes me feel good because they go, man, this dude's silly, man, or like, oh, he's one of us, or like, it's cool.
Dude, Uncle Larry is the man. Even just the beginning, that intro music that you used for him is awesome. The look, everything about him, the wipe it down challenge that you
Yeah,
did, the home run derby. There's so many Uncle Larry videos that you did that were just awesome. Do you have like a favorite one out of all of them? Because there's so many good ones.
yeah. I think just the doing the videos in general were a lot of fun because I was creating them, and my I did like, we were stuck around the house, so I wasn't able to do much. So that little bit in doing that, and I felt there was a lot of people who needed it, and I needed it too, So like being able to create that and have that, you know, uh, I don't know, presence with people around, on Instagram or whatever, like, that they're able to see it. It was fun to do. And it kind of motivated me to do it more and do more and do them quicker, like, oh, let's do another one. Let's do another one. And I did a lot of them in a very short window. And yeah, but the white little wipe it down challenge, all the stuff, I just sit around and I think about it. I go like, I go like, what's something cool I could do? And I'll sit there and I'll just think about one. And I'll be like, and then I'll talk to my wife about it. Like, do you think that'd be funny? And she might be like, nah, that ain't gonna be funny. I'm like, okay, well, you think this is? She's like, yeah, I think that'll be funny. So I'll be really sitting there talking to her about what I want to do, and she give me her little spiel on what she feels is like cool or not cool or whatever. And then I do it, and I do all the editing. I do all the so I was doing all of that stuff myself, besides maybe a few where I might have had my nanny or somebody else holding the camera when I was talking, like I was doing all that stuff myself. So it was fun, man. I enjoy it, and people keep, are you gonna bring him back? I'm like, I don't know. I think that was kind of like a me and Philly thing for the time. I think that's who he is, but we'll see.
I honestly think one of the best ones, and it's kind of like an OG one, was the video that you did. My man, what up, dude? Cool shirt, man.
Ah, you didn't know he could see you, did you?
The
That's
oldest
still
Kutch.
that's still is out.
He's like, all right, I'll leave you alone. But the one of the best ones, the OG one, the one where the waiter was coming over asking if,
Oh,
or
yeah.
who just kept on refilling the water.
Oh
I had
yeah.
that happen to me the other night, but it was wine, and I'm like, dude, I have zero idea how many glasses of wine I have because you keep on
Right.
refilling it as I'm halfway.
Right.
But yeah, dude, you just create some awesome content. And actually,
Yeah.
as Steele pops into the camera, one of the best videos is your wife had posted, which was him being so happy, screaming, "Open the window!" as you're leaving for a baseball game.
Oh yeah. He still says that. He still remembers that day. Actually, he was only like 2. But yeah, yeah, that was like, I don't know what made me come to making that video about the waiter. I think it was because literally, me and my wife went out to eat, and they were lit. Anytime I would take a sip or a few, and it was like back water to the top, and I'm like, I mean, I actually want to know how much water I drink. And this is I'm like, I'm sure a lot of people deal with this. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come out with a video and make it. And so I ended
Dude,
up doing it.
relatable. Yep.
It like went, it went viral, like just making that one video. And I think one, it was because of people didn't never really get to see that side of me. And at the it was one of those like, bro, that's funny because that happens a lot, so
Yeah.
it was cool, man. It was fun, but I want to do more videos, and maybe that's something I get into, when I'm done or whatever, yeah. I just want to keep people laughing, man. Like this one, you with a T-Rex head.
And Steele, who's your favorite Puppy Pal character?
Who's your favorite Puppy Dog Pals character? He don't remember the Puppy Pals anymore like that.
That was the one show that you had watched back in, what was it, 2019, when he'd fall asleep and you keep on watching, and then like go figure, years later you end up being a voice on that. So we got Steele in the room. He was an inspiration for an acting gig that you had. So maybe this could be starting the synergy for the next one.
Yeah, man. We'll see. I'm all about it, So that was fun doing that. So I have that to keep, and so one day I have proof that I could tell him like, dude, your dad was cool, man. Your dad was cool. I had my own cartoon character on the show like that you used to watch, So I got proof. You know what I'm saying? I can show him that stuff, So I got receipts. Oh, here comes the other boy.
Dude, they're all so cute, man. I'm looking at the future. I keep on looking down.
This is it. Right here. The boys, man.
This is also perfect timing. So one of my favorite lines that I've ever heard you say was, you can't control where you go as a player, but you can control what you do as a person. And I think that if anybody listened or watched this today with you, I think that they got the idea that you are a good person, and you got this whole life thing down. It seems like, as much trial and tribulation and adversity as you went through, you got it down, brother, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate that, man. Got the whole fam coming in, Come here. Here's the girl. I guess they like me, so that's good.
Dude, you're a great person, and we're seeing it right now, man. You're a great father.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, man. Just take, like you say, you take life as is. You have fun with it. Have fun with them. And yeah, man. Life's great. Life's good. It's cool that I'm able to share, parts of my life and my life with them. I get to see life through their eyes too, which is so cool. Like I said, they keep me young, and we have a lot of fun, man. Because I know, but if we got a trash picker up in here, don't know what you're gonna do with that. But yeah, but
You got to bring him to all three of them during a press conference one time.
that would be that'd be quite a show. It's crazy. I had when I first signed with Philly, then I had the official signing, and then did the press conference. Still at the time he was our only child, and he was just turned 2, and he got real sick. So he was puking like all day, like the day before, he was just puking bad. And I had him on stage with me that day. Like he was so sick. But he was cool.
What a trooper.
Yeah, he was cool. But then this year, what do you know? My second son, Armani, the same exact sick.
No way.
Prior to the conference, and like he got so bad, he got so sick, and I felt so bad for him. But I was like, what are the odds, of that happening again?
You got to stop signing with teams. Just don't do it again. Make this the last one.
Yeah, this is it, right? I got to stop doing that.
Dude, let's go, baby. Shoot out all your social media platforms, because I want everybody to follow along your journey, because, dude, you got so much more, man. You got years and years ahead of great stuff coming.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it, man. Let's get it going. McCutch22 on Twitter, and at Cutch20 spelled out in the number 2 on Instagram.
Dude, my guy, Andrew McCutchen, thank you so much for hopping on. Keep swinging, brother. I appreciate you, and thank you also for the inspiration behind the show, man. This is awesome that we get to do this, and I can't wait for more.
Yes, sir, man. Appreciate you.